But then, as we all know, in June 1944...
That half case of the Freud.
Yeah, June 1944, we invaded Europe, and therefore, actually sometime before that, in fact, the school closed because we weren't doing any more invasions. There weren't any more planned. And unfortunately,
and they needed the kit from here down on the south coast.
Yes, Jamie, I'm sure they did. Whatever you say.
He's putting in his 2 cents.
What happened was that the building was left. It was not looked after. The gutters over, there wasn't a rod to look after it. The water got in. It got damp rot. It got dry rot. And essentially, when we got it back after the war, it had fallen down. It was in such a bad state of repair. In 1948, one of the big scandals was that all these places that were taken for the duration of the war weren't given back as quickly as perhaps people who had them taken from them expected. So 2 or 3 years after the war, they were still in government hands. They hadn't been given back. Eventually, it was given back. Walter had died, you will see from the stone on the island in 1948. They had to put up sort of ferns and things in the building, apparently, to cover up the fungus of the rot, because it was so bad. The other thing that you may not know is that, unlike today, you can go down to Home Depot and buy lots of stuff to repair your house. It just didn't exist in 1948. You couldn't get the materials. There was rationing. You needed a special license to spend more than £5, which is probably now, I don't know, probably £500. But you can't repair a roof for £500. You can't rebuild a castle for. So even if you had all the money in the world, you couldn't do it. Wow. So the short and long of it, it fell down, and that was it. Then we marched forward, having fallen down. Obviously, all the furniture was taken out, all that stuff. In 1959, I believe it was, when we still owned the farm up the top. Uncle Frank, Roddy's father, owned the farm up the top. Because we still had the liability on the castle, I think he still owned the land of the castle. Because there was a stone steps in the tower, we'd be liable if people came and fell off and killed themselves. So it was then, because we had connections with the military, the Territorial Army Reserve came along and blew it up as an exercise, because it was cheaper for us and it was free. And the stone from it is now all the way around the town,
opposite
the village, and all that sort of stuff. So that's a sort of potty. Is that right, Jamie? Is that right, Jamie? Does that work? Fantastic.
Pretty much.
There we go. That'll be £5.
That's describe the furniture.
Right, the furniture we talked about.
Your son.
Who is it? Phyllis, who Auntie Phil, his plaque was the sort of end left one. She married a chap called Johnny Young. Johnny Young and she met here. James Young, sorry, you're absolutely right, John is his son. Thank you. James Young, they met here. She unfortunately was already married, so it's a sort of story, and they obviously fell in love during the First World War. Here, when he was convalescing, they both then divorced. And in fact, he married the son, her first husband was the son of the American ambassador, so it was quite a grand wedding, and there was a very posh wedding in London.
Phil was married as well.
Auntie Phil married the American ambassador, who was a multi-grillionaire and all that sort of stuff. So it was all rather exciting, all went wrong. But anyway, that's just an aside for out of Miracle and Colours. When he came back from Ceylon, he bought a hotel, the Port Sonican Hotel. Port Sonican Hotel is in Loch Orside, and it's north of here, and it's probably about an hour and a half's drive.
And
it's on the way to Oban.
castle at the head of the loch.
Yes, there is.
Well, there's a castle at each end, yes.
Absolutely
which was on a sort of an island, and I remember we went by boat there.
I remember doing that too. I don't know whether we were doing it together, but I do remember.
And we had a picnic on the sort of island and looked at the castle.
It's a beautiful ruin. So, but most of the furniture for the castle went to that hotel. And a lot of it was very heavy Victorian stuff. I mean, I'm afraid the Ingham Clarks may have had a bit of money then, but they certainly had no taste. No taste at all, in my opinion.
Some might say we still don't.
But they were heavy. The dining room table and chairs was a set of chairs that were carved to tell the story of Robinson Crusoe. So they were all heavily carved, sort of embossed chairs, and I remember them.
They should have a museum.
And the sadness is that when they sold they had a distinctive style. You know, they piped you in the morning. They wake you up with pipes in the morning, and it was like living in a surf. You now call it a very grand, old-fashioned country house hotel. But they didn't really exist in those days. But that's what it was. It was like going to stay in a sort of private country house. And a guy bought it for quite a lot of money, but insisted on keeping everything. And so all the sort of family things that Alistair particularly sort of hoped he might be able to get some of them back. Although he did get, I've got a wonderful painting, which is
Yeah, the couple of, yeah.
of this.
Well, I explained
building.
that to Gordon, and I've got the little one, the little bit.
I can show you the picture, but it's basically painted from where our old house was there, coming this way. And there's
I
another
got the
big yacht.
opposite one that went that way. Most of it was just.
So he got a couple of things, but the great shame was, the front door of that place was the front door of the castle, the crest door. Dad wanted it. He insisted on buying it all. He went bankrupt a few years later, flogged the lot. He went into bankruptcy sale, and we didn't know about it. We didn't know it happened. So he couldn't get it.
Didn't even offer it back to
No,
the family.
he just went.
That's
And that was just a shame. Because and there were things, there were family portraits, family pictures, views of this place, all this sort of stuff.
Shows how stupid he was, because you
Yeah, we probably would have. Yeah, we would have paid more.
Well, if only there'd been a right of first refusal on sale, something like that.
But that's the story of the
Phil
furniture.
Clark said.